And that's where this is like we also have pre-recorded skits.
Yeah.
Like I have the far back weather report where I send two characters, the Drunken Dwarf and Cheez-It, back to EverQuest 1 from EverQuest 2 just to randomly report on the weather. And they end up getting killed almost every time. And I also have Ask a Drunken Dwarf, which is a deep and meaningful advice what people write into the Drunken Dwarf. It was actually started with myself and Delmon writing most of the letters, but we encourage people to write in, asking your questions of love and life and the pursuit of happiness. But just keep in mind, if you write to me, the more serious your comment, the more drunk the dwarf is and completely misses your point. We had one of the first ones we had was a matter of love. It's like, I'm in love with this wood elf, and how do I shoot Illyris's arrow, the goddess of love? How do I shoot Illyris's arrow into her heart and make her mine? And in the background, oh, that was good ale, and stuff like that. Like, all right, arrow hot, right, track her down, and bring her into a corner, then you get aggro and stab and shoot, and then you bring her back to the NPC that wanted her heart to begin with.
Cut the heart out.
Cut the heart out, and then you get gold over experience, and all the while she's just like, that's not what we're talking about! Let me see that. Oh. So yeah, having skits and stuff like that really does help.
So have an outline, then have some skits planned out, and then you can really get it on track to what.
Well, I've been doing this for 4 years now, so I have a multitude of old skits. So if we get into a dead spot, say, okay, let's just throw Drunken Dwarf number 13 in there.
Yeah. How much a week do you spend on it?
On preparing for the show itself or the skits?
Preparing for the show. How much time do you spend?
5 minutes.
See, that's where we differ.
Yeah.
I swear, I haven't, okay, maybe more than 5 minutes. But, I mean, like, we'll just, okay, let's see what's going on again. Okay, there's some nice stuff on the, I'm actually one of the larger advocates of the, marketplace, the station cache. Okay, well, I love the new feature, by the way, on the UI. Because otherwise we'd be searching for all this new stuff. So now you can just hit the new button. Oh, here's all the new stuff. Hey, this is cool. Look, all right, everyone, new on the marketplace this week, stuff like that. Then we'll make notes. Okay, what happened? What did we do this week that was interesting? But Elkman, my wife, who is my co-host, and I do not share our notes. Like, all right, what do you got, Elkman? Well, we came up with this. Yeah, I did this week, and it was pretty cool. Oh, by the way, did you know that the Pegasus wings are in the wrong angle?
We told the art panel that. They're going to look into it.
Yeah, I told Rothgar about that. So,
wrong panel, guys.
But my show is more just spontaneous. We don't have moments, more so we have, what the hell did you just say? Moments.
And this is why eloquence is the reason for the warning at the top of the show.
Yes, if you're going to listen to the Jethal show, we are a mature rated show. There's a lot of strong language and innuendo going, which is actually funny. One of my people, I think, know me more for the Drunken Dwarf than anything, and I don't drink. I'm weird enough as it is. I can't imagine what it'd be like if I were drunk.
That's right. We don't need to drink to be weird.
Well, yeah, we do take spontaneous slosh.
Was not.
See, now us on the other hand, when we're actually on the air, we're taking notes for next week's show.
Yeah.
And all week long, we take notes.
So we don't even get through a complete 2-hour show before we're already.
We do a quest during the week. We take some notes on the quest. We read, an article on a website. We take some notes.
Somebody will mention something in channel.
We take some notes.
Well, somebody will mention something in channel, and we're already writing it down. Yeah. Okay, well, let's get to this for next week.
Yeah. How much listener feedback do you get?
Quite a bit, actually, but most of it tends to be during the show.
It's like during the IRC, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. See, we don't get so much in the emails anymore. Okay. We do get a few, but mostly because we're doing it live. We have the in-game chat channel, we have an IRC channel, and people are constantly giving us feedback.
Yeah, we struggle with that. We don't even get an email every show. And I ran into people last night at the pool party. Oh my gosh, you're Ashley, and I seen your face on the TV. And I said, why don't you write into our show? of those? Like, no. Oh, well, write in next time you listen. Well, what do I write about? Well, tell us what you liked, what you didn't like. Do
Or
you have a
anything
question?
I couldn't tell you
Random
the
stuff.
I couldn't tell you the last time we got an email about the show.
We get maybe 2 every show.
But
Usually she gets one and I get one.
But then I get random private messages in game. You know, someone will send me a tell.
Constantly, yeah.
Yeah, that's another thing. When we're doing our live show, if you send us a tell, we might not see it because we're
There's
watching
so much
the in-game
going
channel,
on.
the IRC channel,
Yeah.
the broadcaster to make sure everything's going right. And a lot of people, they send us stuff and then later on they say, well, you never replied to it. Like, I never saw it.
Well, that's why I have a separate window set up for tells. So I kept missing stuff.
So for you guys, are any of you wanting to be podcasters that have questions?
Or have questions in general.
Online gaming radio is always looking for new shows.
We've got a couple new shows out now.
But for God's sakes, no more YouTube series.
Curious
I
on
don't
the length.
need any more
I listen to a few podcasts and they're usually very long. I don't want to listen to them that long.
Well, ours is about an hour and we want to cut it down to 30 minutes.
Yeah, we're trying for that.
Ours were originally 3 hours.
3 hours.
And
So-
they were removed down to 2.
I would say yours is more like a talk show kind of podcast, and
Yeah.
those are going to be longer than a very targeted news-oriented.
We still have the
Podcast?
problem that there's so much we want to talk about, it's hard to, make it smaller.
Mine is typically between an hour and a half, depending on what we have to say.
The other difference we have is because ours is 2 hours long and it's just EG2 oriented, we have trouble finding things to fill it all the time. Where at least you have a variety
Well,
of
you two
shows.
are the
guys have
reason. You
12
two are the
different
reason
games
I
that
run
talk
out of stuff to talk about because my show is on right after theirs.
An hour after hour.
And Elquin, my wife, is listening to yours, so she's also trying to filter stuff out of her notes that you just talked about.
We're stealing
Any day of
stuff.
the week. Yeah, you guys copy us a lot.
I copy nothing. I don't listen to your show, so how can I copy you?
Oh, now you're in trouble.
Ouch!
Now you're in
Wow.
trouble.
I guess I'm not listening to your show anymore either.
Wow.
How long do you want to listen for?
Typically half an hour. And
Yeah.
it's mostly because like there are shows that cover like 5 different topics. I'm only ever interested in like maybe one of them.
Right.
But they tend to put it's kind of frustrating because they tend to put some of it in the beginning, some of it in the middle, and some of it at the end. And I have to listen to the whole thing to catch it all. And I'm like,
So-
wish they weren't wasting my time talking about something.
What are the topics that you find most interesting then?
Mostly commentary on official content, mostly commentary on like official things. Usually I find a lot of podcasts want to talk about their day, what they did that last week, and it doesn't really interest me very much.
What they're
That's all I want to ask is
drinking,
like, does that,
what the
does
weather's
that,
like.
do you guys really also a lot of feedback as to what topics are most interesting to you?
We don't get a lot of feedback.
So you're not interested about the homemade pizza I just made?
The problem we run into a lot is that because we broadcast on Tuesday, it was also the day that the live updates go. Most people, first thing they do is they log in and they check the live update notes to see what's been added for the day. And then everybody's already read it. So we go over it, but we don't like to go through every single line of it because...
Well, it's the commentary that I appreciate. Like, what are you guys' opinions on the official content? What are
Right.
your-
Yeah, see, that's
and
what we
maybe,
try
like,
to do is
more
read
into
through
what
it.
the players have talked about in relation to that same.
Yeah, what we try to do when we go through any bit of the update notes is not just the notes, it's any comments we have about them.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, well, they said you could do this quest, but if you do it this way.
Right, I think most people will listen to a podcast of a game that they're playing because you guys, they consider you guys to be the subject matter experts on the particular topic. And so the commentary on the notes helps clarify, because a player can read the notes and go, they updated this quest, what does that mean? And so giving that little extra detail of, because it used to be this way, it was bugged and you couldn't do it, and so now this is what that changes. And it does help them feel a little more connected to the game, because you guys, they do consider you the subject matter experts.
So they have a better understanding of everything going on. So.
Sure.
Yeah.
And then I think a lot of times, if they don't like your show, they're just not going to listen to it anymore, and you're not going to get that feedback. So it's one of those hit or miss kind of things. If they really like it, they'll, follow and say, hey, that was a cool show, and you won't really get the negative feedback.
The negative feedback helps just as much as the positive.
I know,
As long as it's
it helps
constructively
more,
done.
actually.
Yeah, as long as it's constructively done.
If somebody comes in and says, we hate your show, you suck. That does no good. If you say, we don't like this segment, we don't like what you did here, we want to hear more of this, then we know what we need to do to change.
I got one that said I giggled too much.
Oh, I see.
Well, that's because you're
Me
constantly
too.
drunk.
And
You need a giggle button so you
Yeah.
can bleep yourself out every time you giggle.
Someone's
Yeah.
like Aimee snorting.
Shut up.
Robyn, for your notes, you know,
Well,
you
no,
can
no,
remove the snores.
no, snorts are good, and so is water.
I like her giggle snorts.
Yeah, you too.
They're cute.
now, and my response to them was, okay, come on my show next week, and then you can tell me to shut up.
It
I
just
said, you
makes it
know,
more
if
human,
you
though.
can do this, then go right ahead. I says, but I don't know I'm giggling until it's already done, and there's nothing I can do.
But
I'm
we
sorry.
also ran into the problem because we're both role players. We both play on the same server. We were in the same guilds for a while. And now we're trying to expand to cover more stuff. I'm in a raiding guild now.
Yeah, started raiding.
Because we were skipping part of the notes too, because like raiding notes would come up or PvP notes, and since we know nothing about those at the
PvP.
time, we would just skip over
So
them.
we're able to
You
expand.
need to get
even
Rico
more.
on your show.
So we're working on expanding to cover more topics and get other parts of the game.
By the way, I sent some Star Wars people your way last night.
Did you? Okay.
Yeah, they want a PvP, so I told them to talk to you.
Oh,
Stay on
perfect.
target.
Okay, great.
But
Stay on target.
stay on target. Sorry. Rico, sorry.
Topic wander. We do that.
I know. That's why we have notes. I didn't do any.
We're not doing
See, I have. See, when we do, I have post-it notes everywhere.
Oh, I can't handle post notes. I'm sorry.
Well, no, usually I'm slapping them to a child's forehead because
Yeah.
I'm
'cause
on
we-
air. Would you shh?
Yeah, because we're live and our children come up behind us and they're pulling your shirt. Because we can't say anything. And so we end up writing little notes back and forth. My daughter will come up with a pad of paper going.
Thank
Yeah,
goodness
you
they
got us 4 hours.
Food.
Thank God they can read.
Snacks.
So she's 13. It's not like it's a little kid we're ignoring.
Thankfully.
What do you want to see more of in our shows? Or you got a question?
I have a question.
Yeah.
No, on one side, I was wondering if you do a show that's on a regular basis, is it easier to do a show like that even if it's less content to fill on a regular basis, or is it better to just do a show when something important happens?
So for us, both of our webcast is regular, but it's a different topic.
Well, you know, that's
every
because
week.
I have a high fiber diet, so we stay
And
regular.
That can be hard because we'll sit.
You doing stand-up later, Joe?
I think
I could, I can't, that's right.
and I don't think it matters so much as long as you're passionate about it. If you're a fan of it and you want to talk about it and you want to share about it, it could be
So-
weekly or it could be every other week or it could be.
Actually, let me elaborate a bit more on that. When you have a regular show, people know to tune in every week, and they understand that it might not be a ton of content, but they understand it's going to be, you know, when there's good content, they're gonna feature it. So you're gonna gain a listener base based on that consistency. It's like, you know, when I watch Burn Notice, right? So when Burn Notice goes on hiatus for half a season, you know, it's hard for me to pick that back up, or True Blood, or, you know, not Game of Thrones, right? Great shows, but when you have that long of a layaway, or layoff, I don't know, whatever you would call it,
Do a podcast every 6 months.
it's very difficult to get back into the show when it picks back up. So you want to try and stay as consistent as possible to keep those people along, and, you know, just let them know straight up. I probably don't have a whole lot to talk about, but we're gonna maybe have an open Q&A, you know, or fill it with something else that's really constructive, and you can do that.